let's talk about SEC administrative courts. When the SEC decided that they were going to bring these claims against me, I made it very clear that I was going to fight, that I felt the claims and the allegations were baseless, that they were unwarranted, that it was an affront to everything I had done and to my reputation, and that I was happy to fight them for truth. But I expected a fair fight. I expected to have due process rights. I expected to have an even playing field. But what I got was none of that. I got a trial by ambush. And so when they brought these claims against me, these baseless allegations, a contract claim that they dressed up as a fraud claim and came after me for $200 million, saying that I had taken fees I was unentitled to, which again was baseless, I fought back. And I fought back for the truth against the allegations, but I also fought back for how they were fighting unfair, not just for me, but for everyone else who would be put through that. So how did they fight unfairly? They didn't bring their fraud claims, their claims for $200 million in a federal court where I could have a jury of my peers, but instead in their own private administrative court where they would have a judge who works for them, where I'd fight against lawyers who work for them, where I'd have no depositions, where I'd have very limited, if any, discovery beyond their handwritten notes and their investigative file. So they held all the power, all the cards, took all the press, and then left me to fight back without the due process protections that we believe our judicial system affords us. So 2 days after they brought these charges, I sued the SEC in federal court with my claims that their judges had been appointed in conflict with the Constitution, which says that officers of the court need to be chosen either by the president or by the heads of these departments. But the SEC has admitted that their judges are mere employees, and they claim they don't act as officers of the court. I began what would become almost an epidemic of claims against the SEC for all those, such as myself, who were fighting for their careers and their lives and their wealth, but being brought in a court where the judges work for the party coming at them. And the world began to see what they didn't know existed, that seems to be in conflict with the due process protections that we believe we will have if ever confronted with an attack upon ourselves. People thought that it was a crazy battle that I waged. And although my journey has been a difficult one, first, the federal court kicked my claim on jurisdiction. I went to the appeals court, who issued a stay in my case, but 9 months later, I lost 2-1 and then had to go through this administrative trial. But these same claims have been brought by so many others who now realize that just the inequity of having a court where a judge works for the party that's bringing the claims and where you have no due process rights. So there have been federal courts in other districts that have ruled that both they have jurisdiction and that the SEC judges are officers of the court and have been appointed in conflict of the Constitution. And now there's a split appellate court, which also the 10th Circuit has decided that they agree with me that the SEC judges are officers of the court and should have been appointed either by the president or the head of the commission. They cannot be mere employees. And so this is an argument that will go to the Supreme Court, whether it's my case that gets picked up or others. But it is important enough, and it is a subject matter that I brought to light, that I was willing to fight for justice, for me and for everyone else who could be subjected to this. And the fact that it will be in front of the Supreme Court gives me great comfort that I've taken a position that's this important, not just for me, but for others.